Hello my gorgeous plant people, welcome back to Reading Mindfully. My name is Yana, and today I just want to go over a couple plant fears and anxieties that a lot of plant parents go through, whether you're a newbie plant parent or you're a veteran. So let's get into it. Hey guys, so I just want to talk about some plant fears and anxieties that I've been reading in the comments section. And I just wanted to go over these anxieties because honestly we all go through these anxieties and fears at one point or another in our plant journey. And it's totally normal if you're feeling these fears. As well as I just wanted to give some tips and tricks to maybe help you guys alleviate these fears and anxieties so that way your plant journey can be a little bit easier. Alright, so the first anxiety or fear that a lot of people have is just to kill their plants in general. And this is especially for a lot of new plant parents. And so what I would just say for this one is just that killing your plants, whether you're a newbie plant parent or a veteran plant parent, it is totally normal to kill plants. Now, I wouldn't say it's normal just to go have a plant massacre or, just have a huge plant grave in your backyard, but it is totally normal to be killing plants, especially when you're in the beginning stages and you necessarily don't have the experience or you didn't do the research on certain plants. But I just want to tell you guys that is normal. I've killed my fair share of plants. I've killed pothos, I've killed peperomias, I've probably killed some Hoyas. I've killed a couple plants, a couple monsteras, which even were some of my favorite plants, but it's totally normal. And you're going to do it at some point because we're all learning. Growing plants is a huge learning curve. We're all not going to come out of the gate, being the best at growing plants. So I just want to put that out there, that killing plants is totally normal and it will happen. The second anxiety or fear is over plant maintenance, and one of these could be overwatering or underwatering. And I always say that if you guys have difficulty understanding when to water your plants, it is always helpful to get a moisture meter. I still use a moisture meter on my plants because I do have some more expensive plants that I want to make sure that I don't kill, but especially I have plants that I don't want to kill in general. So I always make sure I use a moisture meter, whether my plants were $5 or whether my plants were $50 or $60, just because I want to make sure that I don't overwater the plant and I don't lose that plant. These moisture meters really help you understand at one point you should water the plant. And I always water my plants when they're about a 1 to a 2. I don't really like my plants to be completely dried out because sometimes they don't bounce back from those points, but they are really helpful to have, especially after a while you will get the hang of watering your plant and you may not need a moisture meter. But if you have any doubts of overwatering or underwatering, I definitely would recommend using a moisture meter. Another maintenance that can leave people anxious is just grow lights. So if you're having anxieties about grow lights and you feel like your plants need extra lighting, I would just recommend that you keep it simple. There's no need to spend a whole bunch of money on grow lights. You can just go and find a bulb that you really like. It doesn't have to be expensive. I like to use Sansy lights, but you can also just go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy daylight bulbs, and that would work for your plant collection as well. You don't have to spend a ton of money on grow lights just to help your plants thrive, especially during the fall or the winter time. So this is an area that you really shouldn't stress over. You don't have to buy the most high-tech grow lights, especially if you're not a professional grower. Most of us are just houseplant enthusiasts, so there's no need to go out and spend a lot of money on grow lights. Another form of maintenance is pruning your plants back. Pruning your plants back really does help your plants to grow in a manner that you want. It's we're gardeners, we're indoor gardeners, and we're cultivating our plants to grow in a way that we want them to grow. And pruning your plants can really help you achieve that. I know in the beginning I really didn't want to cut my plants. I wanted them to just grow as much as they could. I wanted to have the most growth, the biggest growth, and I actually found that by cutting my plants back, I actually was able to get the look that I actually wanted instead of just letting my plants just grow all over the place. And in fact, when I did let my plants grow, you know, as much as I could, I did get some legginess or some straggly bits, and I found that by cutting those pieces back, or you know, putting them back into the pot after I propagated it, it made the plant look a lot fuller and more compact, and that's the look that I really, you know, crave now. So if you just think about it, how a plant would grow in nature, the plants are naturally pruned in nature, whether it's by harsh rain or winds. That is nature, you know, naturally pruning the plants back. When the leaves get snapped off or when the stems get snapped off, those things are naturally occurring in nature, and it helps plants grow better and bigger. And the third anxiety or stressor, fear, or whatever, is pests. People are afraid to get pests in their collection, whether it's fungus gnats, thrips, spider mites. Spider mites is a big one. Thrips might come after the spider mites, even though thrips are the worst. People are afraid to get pests in their plant collection, and let me tell you, it is going to happen. It is going to happen no matter what you do. Plant pests are always going to come into your home, whether you are putting your plants outside, which I personally do, or if you're a leaf petter, and yes, you know where you are, you know you just can't help yourself from just going in there and just petting all the leaves, you will get some pest issues. Or if you're shopping at different nurseries and stores, or if you're a person who loves to, you know, buy a whole bunch of plants and you're not quarantining your plants, or if your plants are touching and you don't have the space to spread them out, you're going to have a pest issue. The thing that you want to make sure that you do is try to attack it as soon as you see any pests. So this is whether you just spray them off with water first, just to, you know, wash away any initial pests that you see, and then you could use like an insecticide, and I have those linked in my description. You could use insecticides to go ahead and, you know, attack the pests. If your infestation is really bad, you can use a systemic, and that will help, because that will be the plant will uptake that through their roots, and it will kill the, you know, the bugs on contact. Or if you want to, you can go the natural way, and you can use beneficial bugs and release those into your home. Those also work. So you just have to find ways of, you know, attacking the pests. You just want to make sure that you try to keep, you know, see it as soon as you can and attack it as soon as you can, and maybe have some kind of schedule to where you can have some preventative maintenance. You can go in and spray every now and then, so that way you can keep up on top of your, you know, your pest issues, or you can prevent any pest issues. And the same thing can go for your watering. If you're afraid of underwater or overwater, you can go ahead and put your plants on a schedule, or you can go ahead and write it down. And I often will write mine down in my planner, and I just simply check off the box that lets me know that I water my plants. And you will see here that the last time I watered my plant was Monday of this week. So I write down my things just so I can, you know, I'm aware when I did things, so that way, because I'm really forgetful. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. But when I write it down, that helps me to refer back to things. The fourth anxiety is plant envy. And now we see this a lot when people are going through Instagram, or when they're looking at other people's plant channels and things like that. People are just, you know, they're envious. They want this plant, they want that plant, and sometimes people are really calm about these things, but others, you kind of like work yourself up to the fact that you have this anxiety in your chest, and you're just like, oh, I need that plant, and you know who you are when you do this, because I've done it. I will admit that I've done it, and you search high and low for that plant, and you kind of overwhelm yourself, and you make yourself really anxious because you feel like you really need that plant. And let me tell you, just to release that anxiety right now, because that plant will always be there. If it's not there this week, it'll be there next week. These plants always come back. And so if you just take a minute to just relax and calm yourself, you will find the plant eventually, and you probably will find the plant at a price that you can afford, and in a size that will be worthy of that price. So I don't want you guys to feel anxious about buying specific plants. Like I said, there's a lot of plants that I would love to have, but I always have to admire them from afar because I cannot either afford them, or they're just not available in my area. So let's just be less anxious about having these plants. And the fifth anxiety is the overall plant cycle. Now a lot of people, and it happens to especially new plant parents, you got a new hobby, you're like, yeah, this is cool, I'm feeling at peace, I like all these plants, the plants are growing, my house looks good, I love the greenery, let's get more. And you're like, yeah, I got this, I can do this, I'm watering the plants, I can handle this care. You're like, let's buy some more. And then you're like, okay, I'm getting a lot of plants, but I'm still looking at people's YouTubes and Instagrams. I want that one, let's buy more. And you're like, wait a minute. I started this with 0 plants, and now I have 60 plants. I'm overwhelmed. What do I do? Should I give plants away? Should I throw plants away? No, I can't throw them away. It's just too much. I don't want to do that. That's terrible. I feel like a terrible plant parent. And so you see how this cycle just builds up of you buying a whole bunch of plants, then you're happy, then you're buying a bunch of plants, and then you're like, okay, I can do this. I'm getting a little tired, but then you're buying a lot of plants, and then you're like, whew, I think I bought too many plants. I can't take all these plants on. I got too many plants. I need to give some plants away. But there's a vicious cycle of buying plants, looking at plants, buying more plants, looking at plants, buying more plants, and then all of a sudden you just have too many plants and you can't take care of all of them. And this is the cycle that a lot of plant parents fall in. It is especially easy for new beginners to fall into the cycle because you're so excited about getting to this plant community and this plant journey, and you're just seeing so many plants that you would love to have. And so there's a vicious cycle of being in this, this plant journey. Sometimes there's a cycle of, this need to keep buying more plants, need to keep buying trendy plants, or plants that you feel like you need but really you don't. And it just becomes overwhelming. And so there's a line that you have to kind of tread. And with me, when I become overwhelmed and I feel like I can't buy any more, take care of any more plants, I just take a break. I don't buy any more plants. I assess what I have in my collection. I declutter if I need to. I reorganize, and I work from there. I take care of the plants that I have. I don't add any more, and we just go from there. And then I can assess if I can really add any more plants to my plant collection, or assess if I really need any more plants, or if I assess, if there's a type of plant that I can't take care of, or that I can take care of, or that will do well in my home. And so those are the things that you need to do when you're in the cycle of wanting to buy more and more plants. You have to take a break. You have to assess your environment, assess the plants that you have and how they're doing. If they're not doing well, you don't need to add any more plants to your plant collection. I would just suggest that you take a break so that way you can really get a hold of your plant collection and move from there, whether you add more or you just take a break. But those are some plant anxieties and fears that a lot of plant parents go through. I just want to say that these are normal. A lot of people deal with these. I've dealt with these, you know, especially in the beginning, and even to now. You guys have seen where I was buying a whole bunch of plants, especially, you know, in the beginning of quarantine, and now I've tapered off since the last time I bought a plant was October, and I'm really proud of myself, because this time last year I was still buying plants well into December, you know, January, February. So I just wanted to let you guys know that these fears and anxieties are normal, and hopefully give you some tips and tricks so that way you can make this plant journey a little bit more fun and relaxing. But as always, if you guys love my content, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that way you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.